my name is Flying Finn, Finn Josh, however you want to call me. I never thought I'd be doing YouTube, but I guess here I am because I've officially joined an upload required league. For those who know me, I used to occasionally stream on Twitch. Now, not so much. I also occasionally help and do Pokemon related events, and that is still the case here as I am doing Pokemon Draft League, and I am doing draft analysis. I'm officially part of the Final Battle League, FBL, and my first match is actually in about an hour and a half, so I've done a couple of draft recording videos just kind of talking about my analysis of it. Do one final one, save it, and then I'm just going to jump right into a breakdown of my matchup before we actually do the match. So it should be interesting, but let's just go ahead and take a look into it. So I'm going to go over a couple different things. I want to quickly run through my team. I'm going to talk about the before, the after, because we did a lot of transactions and kind of change the makeup of the team. And then after that, we are going to dive into what a lot of the other teams are. Real quick, I did want to quickly touch on some of the rules for the Final Battle League. This is a 16-team league. We had 2 drafts, Scarlet, Violet, different drafts. So one draft, some teams have the same odds, essentially. 9 to 12 mons drafted, point range of anywhere from 1 to 18, and you have a budget of 115 points. So you can split that up however you wanted. And in addition to that, you also have Terra Captains. You have 15 points to spend on that. A Terra Captain can be no more than 9 draft points. And you can have anywhere from 1 to 3 Terra Captains, and then Terra typing is open. This is a one-item league, so I can't bring 2 mons with leftovers. It's only 1 per. And that is essentially the gist of it. All battling will be level 50 online in Wi-Fi mode. So with that being said, let's take a look back at the team. I've got Palafin, Iron Bundle, Pelipper, Brambleghast, Archulodon, Iron Boulder, Overquill, Sandy Shocks, and Florges. Now, for those who have seen me draft it all in the last year, you're probably looking, oh, he's doing another rain team. You're goddamn right I am. I'm going to get this right. We're going to do a rain team. We're going to do a rain team. We're going to do it well, or I'm going to die trying right now. It's kind of the thought process. I want to use Palafin. I want to use Rain Palafin, and I'm having fun with it. So we do have a bit of a rain team here. A lot of interesting sets with this as we kind of take a look at the team itself. For the most part, not a ton of overlapping weaknesses. We have no fairy resist, which is going to be interesting, so I'll have to kind of play around with some of the different Terra types. I'm expecting potentially a lot of steel or fire, although fire on a rain team is going to be interesting. We'll see some wild tech there. Limited dragon options and limited ghost options. Outside of that, though, we have fairly good coverage for the most part. Taking a look down at the stats that I have a good variety on the speed, so I like that. We've got a lot of slow players in case we can run across trick room setters, but we also have a lot of natural speed. Defensively, we've got some okay special defense bulk. It's mainly Florges and then Iron Boulder. Outside of that, not a whole lot swapping in. Special attack, we have a lot of power there. Sandy Shooks, Florges, Archulodon, and Iron Bundle are all going to be monsters. Defense, physical, kind of the same story. Have some bulk there, not a ton. A lot of physical attack bulk and not a ton of HP. So this is going to be we're going to hit you hard, we're going to hit you fast, and we're just going to try and outlast you a bit. And so that's kind of the strategy that we're going with. Scroll down a little bit so you can see the rest of the team that we've got here. Actually, re-hide this. So this is kind of the gist of what we'll be rocking with. Interesting thing is this is not the team that I originally drafted. We want to take a look at that. That is actually going to be the before, or the after and the before. So kept the same core of Palafin, Iron Bundle, and Pelipper. However, originally we had Terra Captains of Registeel and Noctowl, as well as Serena to mix in with Sableye, Noivern, Quagsire, Rangoon, and Thesdepanti. I'm kind of torn. I feel like both teams are very interesting here. I have a lot more top heavy power on one side as opposed to the other, but the other had a lot of versatility and a lot more bulk, and that's something that I'm going to be curious if it's going to bite me in the butt. Because Registeel is a Terra Captain, ton of bulk, be an absolute wall. Serena had a lot of hazard removals between Serena, Noctowl, and Noivern. I love a good Prankster, Mouse, Sableye, Unaware Quagsire, as well as Water Absorb is also very good. It's a lot of interesting combinations to this team, but we ended up going away from that. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are, if you think I should have kept the original team or if this new top-heavy team is going to be interesting. A lot of mons that I wasn't aware of, really, that I've been wanting to try and use. So Iron Boulder is going to be fun. Archaludon is going to be really interesting, especially with its electric move that in rain instant charges one special attack and then just really lets him have it. So a lot of interesting components to that. But this is the team that we ended up going with. Brambleghast and Flores are going to be my Terra Captains. Now, offensively, I really do like this makeup, and the reason for that is I feel like Palafin and Iron Bundle are just really complementary to each other's playstyles. Because when it comes to Palafin, it's going to hit a lot of things really hard. There's really only 5 things that I worry about being on the other side of a Palafin. That's going to be grass, water, dragon, and grass, water, dragon are going to be 3, water absorb mons, and some form of a priority canceling out mon. Iron Bundle helps answers all of that. So Freeze Dry, super effective against dragon, grass, water, and then most water absorb mons are weak to Freeze Dry. The best case scenario you can hope for, I believe, is going to be neutral. If that's the case of, say, Volcanion, because it's fire water, so it neutrals out. Other than that, anything that's on the other side that can wall Palafin doesn't like Iron Bundle at all. And then as far as the priority blocking, such as Indeedee, Iron Bundle's got such natural high speed that it can kind of come in and ignore that threat. Now, on the flip side of that, both those mons have have really good momentum moves in flip turn. Pelipper has U-turn, and those are going to be really helpful here because essentially I get pressure and I'm forcing you to swap out. Palafin can click flip turn. You're going into your Palafin check, still hit hard. Iron Bundle comes in and threatens again because if you have a check for Palafin, odds are it's not going to want to take a freeze drive from Iron Bundle. And just on paper, that synergy I really like, I want to explore here. And we're going to kind of dive into it a little bit. But the fact that I got Palafin and Iron Bundle to me is a little wild. I like it here. I'm going to explore it. I'm going to see what other options we have. Because just on paper, Flip Turn, Freeze Dry, Wave Crash, Jet Punch, all very fun. But there are going to be a lot of answers that my opponents are probably going to anticipate early on. And so I need to be willing to play around that. Pelipper, Rain Setter, Free Hurricanes, really interesting mon. Its physical bulk is one that I like. Brambleghast is going to be my hazard removal with Spin. It's got Poltergeist now, so it's got a really hard-hitting Ghost move. Shadow Sneak is nice. Hazards are an option. Leech Seed is an option for some recovery, so that'll be good. Archaludon is a physical tank, especially with its ability Stamina, so very curious what kind of sets I'll be able to run with that. If I want to go special attack heavy, maybe make it more of a wall. But it, in combination with Florges, I think are going to have a lot of good synergy just because they can kind of intertwine and cover one's weaknesses, especially with Florges being a Terra Captain. Iron Boulder, that's going to be a mon I'm going to be kind of curious to try out. I've never been a huge fan of using booster energies on mon just because the idea of, hey, you come in once, and if I have to swap out, it's kind of wasted. I've never been a huge fan of, but we'll give it a try here and see how it does. Overquill, we love a Swift Swim Intimidate mon. Very interesting how we have a lot of options to work around it. Also gives us that Psychic immunity and it helps us deal with Fairy a bit. Sandy Shocks, you got to have a ground type, especially when facing or when making a rain team. Its natural speed and special attack are going to be good, can do hazards. And then, of course, Florges, our last Terra Captain. So kind of curious, that's, all in all, a lot of gaps on this team. If I'm being honest, if I were making a team to face me, there are a lot of ways I can see right off the bat to try and exploit and take care of it. If I come across a team with a really strong fairy type attacking mon, it's going to be a pain. So I'm going to have to play around that and be careful. But other than that, I think there's a lot of fun and a lot of options here. Kind of taking a quick look through some of the rest of the team. In the rest of my draft class, we have the choice specs. Their team after the draft and edits consists of Dragapult, Urshifu, Metagross, Ninetales Alolan, Dondozo, Glamora, Jolteon, Masquerain, Levani, Arbolivia, and Typhlosion. By the way, you're going to hear me mispronounce Pokemon names really bad. We have weird versions of it. Just enjoy the ride. Cold reading Mon names I have never actually heard. You're going to hear some interesting ones, so just as a heads up. This team is really interesting. You've got potential Snow and Aurora Veil options, a lot of bulk, a lot of speed. This thing just has a little bit of everything, and if you're not prepared for it, you're going to run into a rough time. Ground is a bit of a pain for this. It does have a couple of resists or immunities. However, the big issue with that is you then look at, say, Rock, doesn't like taking, or better yet, Fire. If you have a ground fire combo attack, team's going to struggle a little bit. It does have web setters, which is annoying, and it does have Terra Captain Jolteon, so that'll be interesting to see. I think if this team is used right, it's going to be very scary. It's got a lot of firepower, but it's also got a good amount of bulk and a lot of mons that can pivot and switch into it. So there's not going to be an easy sweep option. There's going to be a lot of mons you have to deal with. We take a look at arts. Their team consists of Chenpao, Garchomp, Necrozma, Sinistcha, I've never actually read that one out loud, Rotom Wash, Arcanine, Scizor, Weezingale, Hitmonchan, and Dunsparce. On paper, there's not a giant weakness that jumps out to me on this team. They don't have a lot of options for ground, but that's common. Ground, you need flying, you need grass, or you need bug, and those, with the exception of flying, bug isn't always the best, and ground is, or sorry, not ground, grass often has a lot of pairings that take away the resistance. I mean, you often see grass and poison mixed together. So you'll see that trend a lot. They don't have a ton of speed. They've got Chenpao and they've got Garchomp. Outside of that, nothing's really breaking the 100. Special defense, they've got two decent mons there. Rotom Wash is going to be a pain for me to deal with, but Freeze Dry hopefully will help out a lot. They got special attack bulkers out the wazoo. Really good physical defensive bulk, really good physical attacking. So this is going to be an interesting team. I'm curious how it's going to be used with the synergy. I see some potential momentum moves here, but this mother effer I am not looking forward to at all. It is just so annoying with its Strength Sap and Calm Mind and Machigacha combo. It is really annoying, and it being a Terra Captain is going to be a pain in the ass. Abomination, they took right off the bat Tropagos. Thankfully, it's not a Terra Captain, otherwise that would have been really interesting. But we see a lot of interesting options. This is going to be a very stally team. In the draft, there was a lot of moaning, griping, and bitching going on about how stally this is, and I absolutely understand it, but I think, there are options around it. Terrapagos, Corviknight, Sylveon, Toxapex, Sinistcha, Goodra, Entei, Sandaconda, Bronzong, Hydrapple, and Piplup. Bronzong and Sandaconda both being Terra Captains. There's just so much goddamn bulk here. So much. And especially when you throw in a Regenerator, you're going to need to plan on a bit of a battle of attrition or having an option, because you're not going to be able to just have a Mon come in and sweep against this. This is a team that's going to come in for a long time, so you need to prep. I'm already anticipating now that we're probably going to see one, maybe two matches for this team get disconnected, whether it be Rage Quit or just because of how long it is. I've noticed that longer matches you tend to see more likelihood to just disconnect because of what happens, and I always hate that, because the long matches, when they do disconnect, it's a pain in the ass to recreate. Just the biggest pain, but I'm curious how this one goes. KSG Sosa, they drafted Tyranitar, Excadrill, Organpon, Wellspring, Iron Valiant, Regidrago, Deoxys Defense, Moltres, Electro Hisuian, Spidops, Houndstone, Swallowed. Good range coverage here. Ice is not going to be their friend right off the bat. When I look at this team, I just immediately think Iron Bundle is going to eat. But they've got Terra Captains that are going to be interesting. None of which have a ton of special bulk, but they have a lot of speed with Electro Tsuian. Spot Ups and Swallow are going to be interesting. So I'm going to be kind of curious how they utilize this team. And, I've got that Fairy weakness. It looks like they've got that Ice weakness. Curious to see how some teams kind of come at this. Grouping. I hate Water Absorb Ogerpon. It has been a nightmare when I've done it in a lot of different versions. Reggie Drago and Deoxys Defense, those two are going to be a pain to deal with. So very curious how this gets used. This has got a good mix of bulk, attack, and this is going to be another weather team using sand. The Tyranitar Excadrill combo I'm a big fan of, so I'm very excited to see how that plays out. Bloud drafted Latios, Clefable, Gliscor, Galvantula, Blastoise, Minor, Infernape, Crowned Zamata, and then Hisuian Quillfish. Hisuian Quillfish, if they didn't take it, I was actually kind of curious about, because it's with it Eviolite, it's very interesting, and I've used it before and enjoyed it. They too only went with 9 Mons. They have a lot of natural speed, my goodness. Curious if anyone tries to run Trick Room against them at all this year. But Minor being their Terra Captain is going to be interesting because you can Terra, Shell Smash shenanigans are going to come off there. Especially if you throw a weakness policy then on top of it. My gosh, that is going to be a monster to deal with. They have some decent bulk, primarily in just the Zamata option, Blastoise being there as well. This team right off the bat is just, it looks like a very steep hill. If you can get over it, you can get through it. They kind of have the same issue as me with the Fairy weakness. But if you can kind of get over that initial hump of some of this bulk, you could potentially get through it. But they play this well. Oof, I'm not looking forward to it. Kiwi did a massive change, kind of like I did at the end of the draft. We got Urshifu Rapid, Perchant, Raikou, Iron Leaves, Incineroar, Flygon, Ninese, Frostmoth, Tinkaton, Lurantis, and Noctowl. Right off the bat, Frostmoth, Lurantis are the Terra Captains. Quiver Dance is going to be a pain. Contrary, Leaf Storm is always interesting. They have a lot of good coverage, especially defensively, but they also introduced a lot of different weaknesses as well. This team has a few mons that scare me right off the bat, but then they have a lot of really good support players. And so this is going to be a team that I think is going to work best based off of its synergy and how they can kind of cover a lot of their mons. Urshifu Rapid and Perchant I think are going to be interesting, because Urshifu Rapid, as we all know, is a very, very busted mon. But Perchant I haven't gotten a ton of experience with and how to deal with. And it's got really good it's got really good physical bulk, solid numbers outside of that, and its ability to just get you poisoned is really annoying. Legstaff, who's actually my first matchup this week. We've got Gouging Fire, Torkoal, Walking Wig, Deoxys Speed, Raging Bolt, Hatterene, Shiftry, Skarmory, Weezing, Bronzor, and Ferret. This team is a Sun team. This team is going to be a Pain team. This team is going to be an interesting one for me to face with this matchup. Right off the bat, just kind of looking at this, they've got some over-the-top speed and then a lot of lower-tier speeds, but they've got mons that are basically built to take advantage of the Sun. It's going to be a matter of kind of, can you minimize the Sun's impact? If you can, then potentially you can take this team down. If you can't, then this team is going to eat. This team is going to bake you to death and just enjoy the remains, because there's not a whole lot you can do outside of that. That is the last of the teams that are in my draft class. Taking a quick look over at the other side, would not face them unless we went to the playoffs, is my understanding. I'm going to do these ones really quick. Gouging Fire, Corviknight, Vaporeon, Meowscarada, Dachshund, Sneasler, Rhyperion, Galvantula, Hisuian, Zoroark, and Avalon. My goodness, this team has a lot of speed and heavy hitters. Sneasler, Zoroark, Meowscarada, all nightmares. I'm really curious how Gouging Fire is going to do with this one. I think its mix with Corviknight is going to be very interesting. Rhyperior also is going to be an interesting one. I don't have the notes of the Terra Captains. If Rhyperior is one of the Terra Captains, oh, that's going to be a fun mon to have to deal with. Irons, we've got Chenpao, Great Tusk, Goldango, Rotom Wash, Glamora, Skeldridge, Mimikyu, Sceptile, Zangoose, and Skuntank. Right on the bat, they've got 2 over-the-top speedsters, then some mixed speeds below, a lot of special attack, and then a few physical attacking mons. This is a team that if you can get a solid quick ground attack going, they're going to suffer a little bit. Rotom Wash is deceiving there because of its ability to levitate, so we can ignore that. But still, they do have Glamora, so the natural T-Spike setter. So I do like the fact that it's got Mortal Spin as a way to remove hazards. But that mixed with Goldango, so you can't get rid of the hazards at all because not without a natural grounded poison type. So that'll be interesting. Shade here, we got Dragapult, Iron Treads, Fesipante, Gyarados, Regieleki, Orgrimmon, Cornerstone, Porygon Z, Hitmontop, Rotom Fan, Typhlosion, Hisuian, Probopass, and Murkrow. Murkrow is a mon I absolutely dread. Prankstermons are annoying, but Murkrow is one of those ones to where in doubles it is just a monster. And I love Prankstermons. On paper, they have a lot of good coverages for a lot of any of their weaknesses. Again, I'm going to hound on it again. We've got a lot of ground weaknesses. Ground offensively is just a really good typing with, a lot of the types that resist it not being common, or then immediately being weak to its sister part, rock. As we see here that there's nothing that wants to take either one of those attacks. If you've got, say a Rhyperior that can Terra, oof. But that's just a common trend on almost any team. That's not a knock on this at all. They've got a lot of physical attackers options, as well as a lot of special attacking options. Hisuian Typhlosion, this is going to be a mon to watch out for. Terrifier, Choice Scarf, Eruption on this mother effer. It's game over. Or even a Murkrow getting you freaking Tailwind, go into Typhlosion, and then you can have specs on it. It does enough damage, almost Flash Fire mons regret it. There's a lot of potential here. I'm curious to see how they do. I'll be watching from the other side over there. Incon's team, we got Urshifu Single, Walking Wake, Gliscor, Scizor, Rotom, Heat, Hatterene, Lurantis, Chansey, Frostlass, and Aqua Tauros. They've got some good speed mixes. They've got some good bulk. Right off the bat, not seeing anything jump out in terms of anything to take advantage of. This is a team that's got two heavy hitters. Then they've got some bulk that can kind of move around and pivot. Looking right off the bat, I can see teams primarily focusing on how to deal with Walking Wake and Urshifu Single. However, Rotom, Heat, Scizor getting some momentum turn or usage in there. You have things like Tauros Aqua, which essentially comes in and does a lot of the same options, but if you're not prepared for it, it can be a pain. Get a bulk upset going there. Chew Cut allows it to stay in there with some longevity. So there's a lot of interesting options there. We take a look over at Alice Ferrothorn's team. Alice also went with a bit of a rain team. I've done a few leagues with Alice. She has a lot of creative sets and tries to take some pride in that. And I can kind of see it here right off the bat. Going for a lot of the same common things as Pelipper, Archlodon. So it looks like we're going to see a rain team here. Over the top speed as well. Went for Ice, so that's going to be interesting. So potentially an Aurora Veil, which is always fun to deal with. Some low value or some low point mons going to bring a lot of value. Baratic, I want to say, has Slush Rush and Swift Swim, so multiple options there. So Alice went through a different direction of building through weather, and I'm very curious to see how that plays out. As I can see a lot of the fun potential here. Things that jump out right off the bat, no answer for Dragon whatsoever. That's going to be something to kind of have to deal with. Only one answer for Fairy. Outside of that, a lot of mutual coverage. A lot of bulk options though, so nothing's going to be a gimme when facing. Delphin, we see Iron Boulder, Iron Valiant, Perchant, Donphan, Uxie, Lomola, Superior, Orthworm, Noivern, Magmortar, and Lapras. Alomola and Magmortar are the Terra Captains. That's going to be a fun mon as a Terra Captain. It's got really good bulk right off the bat. I've seen people throw Assault Vest on it with Regenerator, so you can come in, take hits, just be a dedicated wall. I have seen Wish combos, just, stalling out and getting the ability to Terra is going to make it a lot more interesting. Right off the bat, Ghost is going to be something that I'm curious to see how they handle. A lot of pain points there, but they've got some bulk around as well as momentum options. 2 teams left. We've got Braves. They took my baby boy Palafin on their team. So naturally, Braves, I'm going to be rooting for you just because I want to see Palafin succeed. I love that mon so damn much. Palafin, it's basically a mon they made for me. It's really cool. Awesome design in my opinion. I love it. The concept of zero to hero in terms of, the whole superhero persona, I absolutely love so damn much. Just seeing the whole Clark Kent to Superman, Bruce Wayne to Batman. I don't knock over my mic. Sorry, folks. I'm probably going to leave that in there so you might just hear a loud bang. I'm not really good on video editing, so sorry. But I love that concept across the board. I'm really excited to see it. I'm really excited to see it in use. Plus, it's kind of, one of the things I talked about is, people will often knock some different Pokemon and be like, oh, it looks like it's a Digimon. Palafin to me is a Digimon because it's the only one that essentially evolves in battle like Digimon do, and that's kind of cool. So I love Palafin. Anyway, back to the team. Palafin, Chi-Yu, Garchomp, Tornadus, Zamata, Clefable, Torterra, Lantern, and Pikachu. They went with 9 Mons, really a top-heavy team. You've got 6 Mons to worry about, and those 6 Mons are a pain. The one thing that it does jump out to me is outside of Lantern, nothing's really deterring me from using flying-type moves. I know Pikachu's there, but Pikachu is 40 base defense, 40 base special defense. It's not exactly screaming wall to me. So I'll be curious to see how this team kind of works together, but there's just so much firepower that it's very threatening and going to pose a lot of issues. And then we take a look at Aaron's team, the last team we've got. Spectre, Orgapon, Hearthflame, Quavel, Zapdos, Kingambit, Flygon, Weezing, Galarian, Tinkaton, Ferrothric, and Phione. Now, taking a look at this, we've got some over-the-top speed, over-the-top special attack, physical attack, some decent bulk all around. Nothing jumps up on the typing advantages to me. Ground's only got 1 immunity. Again, talking about that till I go blue in the face. Outside of that, really good coverage. I think Aaron drafted a solid team to have a lot of support here. Has a lot of options. Went with 10 Mons, and Phione with Terra Water is going to be something to deal with. It gets Tail Glow, it gets Teakart, all annoying monsters to deal with. So I'm going to be watching this other division like a hawk, kind of trying to get some info on it, especially as we approach playoff time. But there's going to be a lot that have to kind of keep an eye on and deal with. Really excited to see how it all plays out, though. We are approaching week 1. I'm probably just going to upload this video as is, just straight quick upload. Yeah, let me know what you think. Should I have kept that original team, or is this new team the way to go? What are your thoughts? Seeing these different teams, honestly, who do you think's got the best team overall? Honestly, looking at a lot of these, feels like a lot of us have the same mindset of we're gonna churn and burn. We're either gonna kill you first, or you're gonna kill us. There's not gonna be a whole lot of delays. In my division, I would probably say the team that I am fearing the most. I'm dreading playing Abomination. I'll be honest and say that one. I don't know if it's necessarily fear, but I'm dreading this matchup because it's going to be a stall wall battle. In terms of teams that I am fearing, Arts has an interesting team. I think I would actually probably say Kiwi. Kiwi doesn't have a whole lot of weakness overlapping, a lot of variety and coverage. I think it's going to be interesting. So Kiwi's probably going to be the team I'm dreading the most on this side. But yeah, let me know what you think. That's probably what we're going to do it right now for this video. I'm going to upload a second one probably fairly quickly because I'm going to be recording my draft plan breakdown for my matchup this week, and then my battle is in a few hours tonight, so we'll go from there. But yeah, sweet. I appreciate you all enduring this long. If you want to follow up to date, you're going to be getting matchups on every single one. Something I might be doing is just kind of a general status update of where we are in the league. I can't really show any of their matches, but it'll be interesting to watch. Meantime, though, appreciate you all stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.